I'm gonna make this video about my Stephen King movie collection. I don't have not even half of them, but it's just a few of them, because most Stephen King movies have not really fared too well. But even so, there's a lot of good stuff. All right, what I'm showing right here, right now, is this book's called Stephen King at the Movies. Now, this book is from 1986, and so they had been making movies about Stephen King books for about 10 years when this book came out, and it features 13 movies. So you can imagine, ever since the beginning, Stephen King was being adapted to the screen. All right. Curiously enough, I do not have this movie, which is of course Salem's Lot. I know that a Blu-ray has been come out of it that was that has been upgraded with the image, and I'll be getting that as soon as possible. But for now, let's get on to the movies that I do have. All right. We'll start here with the TV shows and TV series here. We'll start with Nightmares and Dreamscapes from the stories of Stephen King. Now, this is a collection. Well, not what's a. It was a mini series, or rather a limited series of 8 episodes, 8 hour-long episodes, I believe, and each of them based on short stories by Stephen King. Not all of them are good. Here we get a little close-up. That John Hurt that you see right there on the left stars in Battleground, which is one of the better episodes. And I also liked this episode, which is curiously enough not really a horror story, but rather a crime story. But it was really, really good. All right, it's really worth having. You know, there's some good stuff in here. Then we have this, a Kingdom Hospital. You see, okay, you see the sticker here. I did not buy this at Hollywood Video. I bought this, in fact, at a flea market. And okay, and now, if any of you have heard of this series, this series is a remake of a Dutch series, I believe. And the first few episodes were adapted by Stephen King himself. So he wrote the teleplay for them, even though he did not come up with this original story. So this is, in fact, a remake of that European series. And I have not seen all of the episodes because, quite frankly, I just got bored. I mean, it just the premise is set, and then there's a lot of weird stuff happening, but there's a lot of running around in circles, and I didn't really get into it. I'll probably finish seeing it one of these days. It's about a haunted hospital. You know, that's what you can say about it. Then we have the long-running series, The Dead Zone. It's got this sticker on this that I haven't taken out. This one I got to use at a video store that was going out of business. And now, The Dead Zone is one of my favorite Stephen King books. And even though this series strays from the novel quite a bit, in that it tones down the story elements, so it's not nearly as horrific. It becomes more of a suspense series, you know. And it did go on for a bit too long, because the central storyline that runs through the series just went on a bit too long for my taste, and I really wish they had wrapped it up sooner. All right. In fact, I have not seen the entire series because I don't have it. I have here season 1. And like I said, because I got it in this video store that was going out of business, which was called Hollywood Video, and I have here season 2 in their own boxes, and season 3. These I have seen, you know, these seasons, and then at Blockbuster Online, I bought season 5. So have this. So I'm missing season 4, and I believe it ran for 6 seasons. So I believe I'm missing the last one. So I've got 2 seasons left before I get all of it. Now we'll go on to the TV miniseries. We'll start here in no particular order with Rose Red. Not based on a Stephen King novel. It is but it was an original screenplay by Stephen King, very much influenced by Richard Matheson's Hell House and Shirley Jackson's stories about haunted houses, right? Like The Haunting. Okay, but I'm afraid it never reaches the heights of those other stories, because this is in fact a 2 hour one, a 2 part a miniseries. Each of them episodes 2 hours long, and it just way too long. It just goes on forever. The story, it just drags and drags and drags. I mean, there's some interesting elements here, but it just went on for too long, way too long. You know, get it if you're a Stephen King completist. He does make a cameo appearance here as a pizza delivery guy, so that's kind of cool. And now, for all of those of you complaining that the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining was not faithful to the book, here you go. The Shining miniseries, adapted by Stephen King himself. He himself wrote the teleplay. This is a miniseries. I believe it is a 6 hour miniseries, I believe. And boy, is it ever boring. It is faithful to the book. I have read the book. Very faithful to it. But this is the reason why books need to be adapted to the screen. You know, you just can't put everything in there. This movie just drags along. Any sort of suspense that may have been built is just completely destroyed by the sheer length of the story. You know, only good thing in here is Rebecca De Mornay, who does a really good job as the mom of the little kid, and of course the wife of the hotel caretaker that loses his marbles. But here it is. I've seen this a couple of times, you know, trying to get into it, but like I said, very, very long, very boring. We now go on to this remake of Salem's Lot. Now, of course, Salem's Lot was first adapted as a TV miniseries back in the 70s, a very good one, and the one that I mentioned I don't have. This is another version, and I think it's pretty damn good. I have read the book. It's faithful to the book. This one doesn't drag like the other miniseries do. It's pretty damn good. There are, of course, some changes made, but they don't take away from the story at all. You know, I kind of like this one. This guy has some pretty good moments. Saying now, that would be with Rob Lowe, Donald Sutherland, Samantha Mathis, Rutger Hauer, and James Cromwell. Pretty good stuff. Now we have the much beloved It. Here, well, everybody is this was one of the most popular Stephen King adaptations, and it's pretty good. I have read the book, and yes, it is pretty faithful to it. I think this miniseries, as some people have mentioned, does something that is better than the book, and that it tells first the story of the characters as kids, and then the story as adults. So I think that's a bit better than the way the book does it, which flips back and forth between the two eras. Of course, Tim Curry there delivered an iconic performance, you know, that has yet to be surpassed, and the rest of the cast is pretty damn good as well. The ending, like many Stephen King ending, is a bit abrupt, and in this miniseries a bit cheesy, you know, because the special effects have not aged well. But overall, this is a very good story. Now we go on to the movies, and we have here a DVD of the original Brian De Palma Carey. I have this one, but of course I recently bought the Blu-ray, so I have both my DVD and Blu-ray version. The Blu-ray just looks fantastic. This one came out when the Carey remake came out. So as you can see right there, there's a sticker that's in Spanish that It gives you a small special feature regarding the Carrie remake. This is the De Palma version, which I do prefer over the remake by a bit, even though I don't have anything against the remake. And here it is with a lenticular cover. Let's check that out. Alright then. Pretty damn cool. Alright. I don't have anything against this remake. You know, I do believe it doesn't add anything to the story, which is kind of a missed opportunity. And yes, it does, just like the original Carrie, it does stay very faithful to the book, you know, so it's not like they made any drastic changes or anything. Still pretty good. Like it. And of course, not only one of the best Stephen King movies of all time, but one of the best horror movies in general. Here, The Shining. What can you say about this one? Everybody has seen it. It is a classic. And yes, I am completely behind Stanley Kubrick with all of the changes that he made. You know, I don't think that he made a bad adaptation. He did make some changes, but they were for the better, as far as the movie is concerned. All right, great film. Moving on here with Sleepwalkers. Got this at Blockbuster, I think I remember. And here the intention was good. This is another original screenplay by Stephen King for the screen, and so it's not based on one of his books. It's about these shape-shifting, well, kind of like were panthers. You know, they turn into these cat-like creatures. Well, it's so just okay. The thing is that the CGI effects here, which right here they are only beginning to have CGI. You know, I imagine back then they thought it was pretty cool, but here it just dates the movie completely. It has its moments, got a decent cast, but it just promises, but doesn't really go anywhere. All right, just an okay movie. Here we have a box set of 4 movies, which I really bought only for the Cronenberg version of The Dead Zone, which is really, really good. You know, it takes a good director to make a good movie, whether it's based on a book or not, and this is proof of it. Really good movie, The Dead Zone. Then we have a Pet Sematary, again a very good. Not I don't like it as much as other people seem to, which you know, but it's still a pretty good movie. I think it could have been even more horrific than it is. Then we have Silver Bullet, which is just as werewolf films go, it's okay. It's okay. You know, I don't hate it. It's pretty okay. And then Graveyard Shift, which is pretty much just a creature feature. You know, it's got the low budget creature feature written all over it. It's got all the 4 movies here in these slim cases, as you can see. Glad to have it for The Dead Zone and Pet Sematary. Moving on to the last 2 we have here, The Green Mile. Now here, well, you see the title in Spanish there because I live in Mexico, and so that's where I bought most of these. And here, The Green Mile. Well, a very good movie, very good adaptation of the Stephen King serialized novel. Yes, I have read it, and it stays pretty true to it. And a fantastic cast, very well directed. You know, check it out. Of course, this one is not a horror movie at all, but even though it does have some slight supernatural elements to it. Excellent film. I haven't seen this particular the Blu-ray. I have seen the movie, of course, but not this Blu-ray which I just bought. Likewise, the same thing with Shawshank Redemption. Here we have again the title in Spanish. Love this cover. Likewise with the Green Mile. It's got these new illustrated covers which I think are really, really cool. All right, well, Shawshank Redemption, not just one of the best Stephen King movies, but just one of the best movies ever. You know, it's an incredible movie that with a great story. Not a horror story at all in this one. You know, it's a prison story, and a story about the redemption. Very very uplifting movie. Great acting, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. Well, that is it. That is all the Stephen King movies that I have. I am hoping to soon get, of course, the original Toby Hooper directed Salem's Lot in my collection. But for now, those are all the Stephen King movies I have. Thank you very much for watching. So long.